You're listening to the Angry Marks Pro Wrestling Show on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. Your Thursday night alternative to total non-stop action. AMP is here to raise your spirits. The stock market may be dropping, but we're on a rise, and our stock portfolio is only going higher right here on this show. But before we get into that, we got to introduce the co-host, and then we'll introduce our fake guest. So here's my main man, the hardcore Canadian from Ottawa, Peter H.
Look into my eyes, what do you see? It's a cult of personality. I am the hardcore Canadian, Peter H. How you doing, Stevie?
I'm doing fantastic, but I'm not doing nearly as good as our guest tonight because he has been everywhere in the world of professional wrestling, and he is hot in demand from CHIKARA to Dragon Gate USA to PWO. You know, he's the man. He's the big rig, Brodie Lee. What's up, Brodie?
Thank you very much for that introduction. I was wondering if you could come with me on the road and give that to every promoter.
I would love to, but I'm afraid I'm no Ricardo Rodriguez. I can't do a fantastic introduction near the capabilities of that fine man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's just jump right into it and start with how you got the name Brodie Lee, because I understand you're a fan of Kevin Smith's films.
I am a fan of Kevin Smith films, and I used to do ring crew way back in the day of Ring of Honor, and we were sitting at a diner one night, and Lit of Special K fame just looked at me and said, you look like Brodie from the Mallrats, and his name is Jason Lee, so you should be Brodie Lee. And I said, I think that's a good name, and stuck with it.
Yeah, and it seems to fit you quite well because, I mean, people just look at you and go, look at that big dude, that's Brodie Lee. And it's gotten over huge. No pun intended.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing to be named after Jason Lee, who seems to be a tremendous human being.
Yeah, and he's done quite a lot of things besides Kevin Smith movies, including one of my favorite shows, My Name is Earl. That guy is hilarious on that show.
Very good show. He also owned a skateboard company for a long time in California.
Oh, well, is skateboarding something you're into, or just trivia facts you know about Jason Lee? So, just trivia then, I take it. So, Peter, I'll let you jump in. I don't want to dominate the conversation, but I got a lot of questions, so feel free to jump in here and don't let me take over.
I remember seeing you, Brodie, I think it was last year here in Ottawa at an indie show for C4 Wrestling, and it was you against Michael Elgin. And first time I saw you, I was like, holy shit, that's Brodie Lee. Like, I'm like 6'3", and I was like, holy shit, I was like ringside. I was like, this guy's gonna kill Elgin, because Elgin's a little short guy, but he's stocky. I'm like, this isn't gonna be good, and that was probably the best match on the card, I have to say.
Yeah, Michael Elgin makes up for his smallness by lifting very, very heavy things and taking many enhancements. So I think he was true to the battle.
Now, will you be coming back to Ottawa in the fall or the winter coming up?
I truly hope so. Me and Elgin had another match that he ended up winning, so we're at 1-1 right now. And this match I think could have made it anywhere, and I was really happy with the way they came off, and I would love to do it one more time with them.
Okay, well, I gotta say I have the same reaction that Peter did the first time I saw you live in person at a show, and that was at Dragon Gate USA this Saturday night when, this Saturday night's PWO, but 2 months ago in Atlanta, I saw you on Saturday night, and I'm 6 foot, but I just saw you, I'm like, holy shit, he's gonna kill those little Japanese dudes, so... How did you end up working with Dragon Gate? What was that relationship? How'd that get started?
Basically, Gabe Sapolsky was the reason why I was in Ring of Honor way back in the day for my short-lived, very successful run. And we kind of kept in contact after we both got fired from there. And he found a spot for me, and everything just kind of worked out perfectly. And the Japanese office took a very liking to me, and basically, everything worked out perfectly, like I said, and I've been to Japan 4 times because of the deal, and I'm under contract to Dragon Gate USA, and they've been loyal to me, and I plan on being loyal to them because they've been nothing but great to me.
Yeah, I would definitely say you're loyal based on what I've seen. I mean, you were basically functioning as a hitman for your Japanese hire. You know, they sent you out there to kill it. You were a killer.
Yeah, basically, Seema asked if I would like to come to Japan and help him in the United States, and I said sure for the right price, and everything, like I said, worked out.
Yeah, I'd say it certainly has, and it's worked out.
It's an honor. I was going to say it's an honor to work with the caliber of talent like that, and to to almost test myself and to feel that I belong there, and it's a good feeling. Yeah,
no, I should ask you about that since you mentioned it. Do you? I mean, you've obviously had a lot of experience even before you got to work with guys like Shima and Akira Tozawa and the likes, but do you feel like you're learning new things from them by working with them, and what's that experience like?
The work ethic that those guys bring to the table, I mean, being in Japan and watching these guys do these matches every single day, literally 250 times a year, you can't help but go there and get better. You can't help but work with them and get better, and it's like I said, it's been a true honor and a great test, and I think I've improved since I've started, and I hope to continue to improve.
What would you rate as your best match in Dragon Gate USA thus far to date?
I would say, in Dragon Gate USA, I'm not real sure. I had a match against Yamato that I really liked, but I wasn't really pleased with the outcome, and actually in Japan, I worked Mochizuki one-on-one in Corkin, which was probably the highlight of my Dragon Gate career so far.
I think that would be a highlight of a lot of careers. Korakuen is a place a lot of guys want to get to, and not everybody gets a chance.
Yeah, basically they asked me if I would main event Corkin Hall against Masato Mochizuki, and to say that I was flattered was an understatement.
Indeed. I mean, I remember many guys talking about that, from John Tennant to Mick Foley, what Korakuen is like, so I got to give my hats off to you for working a show and being in a main event there. That's tremendous, and your career is only just now getting, you haven't even begun to shine yet. You've got many years ahead to do fantastic stuff in Dragon Gate and elsewhere. And speaking of elsewhere, you've had quite a run in CHIKARA as well.
Yeah, it's funny that my career in CHIKARA started basically due to reckless youth no-showing. I wasn't on the show, and I was given a spot because I was with the Olsen twins, and I believe Town, and Reckless Youth no-showed, and Mike Blackbush asked me if I would fill the spot in the card, and I wrestled Vindrad that night, and after that, he asked me if I would come back full-time.
Very cool. Go ahead.
After that, about 3 or 4 months went by where I thought I did something to fuck the deal up, but I wasn't sure, and then I got a call back, and they asked me to change my gimmick, and everything worked out very, very well.
Now, this might sound like a weird question, but one of my wife's favorite all-time feuds in CHIKARA was you versus Claudio Castagnoli, so I gotta ask this question on her behalf. Did you learn any dance moves from Claudio?
Other than punching each other in the face, we did not exchange dance moves. I have seen his promos where he imitates tremendously Alex Wright, and it's a sight to behold.
Yeah, it's quite fabulous watching him get out there and bust a move and teach other people how to bust moves too. But I think that feud just showcased the best of what both of you could do. It was a big, strong man against a big, tough man, and it played into what everybody would like to see in places like WWE. But with Mark Henry and Big Show, you never get something that caliber.
Right, and I think that the story for the whole year before that kind of built perfectly to the Cage Match climax, and Mike Quackenbush booked beautifully, and I thought me and Claudio both played our parts well, and it really worked out awesome. And it's probably the highlight of my career match-wise right now.
Very cool. I couldn't argue with it. It was a great match, and we very much like the way Mike Quackenbush books and works around here. We've had him as a guest on the show, and Quack does great things for CHIKARA and doesn't get nearly the recognition that he deserves.
I believe this absolutely, and I believe that they're ahead of the game marketing on the internet wise, and I just wish that more people would see it and give it a chance for what it is.
Well, at least they're going to get a chance coming up here in a month or so, because they've got the finals of the 12 large tournament. It'll be the first time they've ever been on iPay-per-view, so that's a big step up for them. And
that is true. And for CHIKARA, I think they have enough talent in their locker room that they can easily carry iPay-per-views, I think, once a month. And if that's the direction they're heading, I think it's going to be awesome for them.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to Ring of Honor for just a second. You talked about your short but very successful run there, and during your time there, you were aligned with the Age of the Fall. So let's get your thoughts on that, and Tyler Black now being in developmental, and where you see him going.
Basically, I got there at the tail end of the Age of the Fall, and was kind of cursed from the beginning to be in that, but it was what it was, and I got to work with Jimmy Jacobs, which was a pleasure. I got to work with Austerities. I got to work with Delirious. I got to work with Chichikati. And I got to work with Knuckle Butcher every week. So it was an interesting run. It didn't work out how I wanted it to, but and everybody tells me that Ring of Honor misused me. But all I can say to that fact is that I was the one in the ring. I was the one that performed, and they weren't. So it's on me.
Well, I wouldn't take the blame myself if I was you. I do think they didn't use you to your full potential, but I'm not a booker. What do I know? So,
I mean, to be fair, there was supposed to be a match built in New York City of me and Necro Butcher, and the week after Gabe Sapolsky left, that match was booked for Montreal in front of a crowd that didn't give a shit, and that was kind of the writing on the wall for me.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that. It was not the feud that would play well there. It definitely would have played in New York. That would have been a hot match there.
Right. And it was given away in Montreal, and literally that was a week after the build started, so.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But let me ask you about Necro Butcher real quick, because from what I've seen of him in shoot interviews and heard of him on radio interviews, he's like totally the opposite of the persona you see in the ring. He comes across as like a very soft-spoken, nice guy.
Necro is possibly one of the smartest men and easiest conversations you will ever have with anybody in the world. You could pick any subject, you could talk to him for hours about it.
Is it true he wears glasses when he's not in the ring? Actually kind of looks like a bookworm.
Oh yeah, he does not. I mean, what you see in the ring from him is a bit different than you're going to get outside the ring of him. But again, if I'm at a bar and somebody's going to fuck with me, I want Knuckle Butcher right there.
That's very true. I would want that guy on my side any day of the week. But
Brodie, who is your dream opponent you've never faced?
Oh wow, that's a pretty good question. Probably somebody in Japan, like a Kawada or a Misawa. Really, even though back in the day, like a Rick Rude or even a Junkyard Dog, something like that, I think.
Okay. And I heard another interview you did, and I'd love to hear the story of you fighting Aki Bono.
Well, they booked that for a Dragon Gate USA show, and I wasn't really sure about it, but it was an opportunity to fight one of the biggest names in professional wrestling, somebody that beat Paul White, the Big Show. And when I describe it, I don't really describe it as working with him, more just working against him. And anything that that man doesn't want to do, he's not going to do.
Now, do you think you'd put on a better match with Aki Bono than, let's say, I don't know, the Big Show?
Well, at this point, I have to say that I'm better than the Big Show just because I beat Aki Bono. So I have one step up on him, so I think I might mesh well a little better with the Big Show, though.
Have you ever faced anyone taller than you in recent memory?
Not in recent memory. I think the first time in a long time will be this coming Sunday against Kevin Nash.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good segue.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a good segue because we haven't talked about PWO yet. So why don't you tell us about that show coming up on Saturday?
It's actually on Sunday. There's a Kevin Nash party on Saturday in Cleveland. So basically, PWWrestling.com is where you can go, and there's a Pro Wrestling Ohio show Sunday, August 7th, and the main event will be me and my friend Marion Fontaine versus Little Fella Omega Aaron Draven and a bit of a has-been named Kevin Nash.
Strong words there.
Well, I mean, I was just doing cardio before this phone call, and I was thinking that the PWO show this week is going to be a lot like a WCW card in the 90s because it's going to be an awesome undercard, a lot of athleticism, all this great stuff in the undercard, and then Kevin Nash is going to come and main event it and collect all the money.
Well, as long as he doesn't do the finger poke of doom, you'll be okay.
I mean, I like to do good business, not shitty business.
Yeah, well, I do think Kevin Nash is a great promo. I don't know how much of a worker he is in 2011, but that guy could certainly draw up interest.
We're going to find out Sunday what kind of a worker he is, I think.
Yeah. Well, how'd the feud develop? How did you get to the point where it's going to be settled on Sunday?
Basically, my part of it was Mary Fontaine gave me a call, offered me money, as is usually the case, and said, I need somebody to counteract another truck driver, or he's more of a fake truck driver, but, and I headed out to Cleveland and destroyed a few people, namely one of them was Gregory Iron, who CM Punk just put over, dropped on his head a few times. That was pretty inspirational. And, pretty much Mary Fontaine was impressed, and they booked the match because this guy, Justin LeBar, ran his mouth, and Draven ran his mouth, and, we just got sick of it.
So it seems the same thing happened that always happens to you. They bring in a big hitman to assassinate the guys talking shit.
Exactly. I mean, and the thing is, these two guys, Omega Aaron Draven and Justin LeBar, are running their mouths and having somebody else come in and solve their problems. Me and Fontaine are talking our own shit, we're going to solve our own problems.
Well, that is the hallmark of your career. You don't let other people solve your problems for you, but then when you're the size of Big Rig Brodie Lee, you don't have to let other people solve your problems.
And as soon as you start letting other people do things for you is when it all gets fucked up.
That's true. Somebody should have told The Miz that.
What's that?
Someone should have told The Miz that.
Well, I mean, he seems to be doing all right for himself in the career.
Yeah, well, I hear he got the PWI Top 500, but I'm not quite sure how he got to that spot. Let's talk about
media work this year.
Okay, Brodie, how's your knee holding up?
It's pretty good. I had surgery at the end of June, and for the last 2 weeks I've been in the gym doing hard cardio. It's actually why I was late for the interview, I apologize. And I think it's in a good spot right now. After this match, I'm actually going to take probably another month or two off and make sure it's 100% when I finally come back to Dragon Gate, CHIKARA, and the rest of the loop.
Now, how long ago was the surgery?
It was June 24th. And I look at it this way, that I have one leg, and Kevin Nash has 0 good legs, so I still am ahead.
How did the physio go?
It was all right. I've never had really surgery like that, so I woke up, it was done, and literally 3 days later I was in rehab, starting the process of coming back.
Wow. Is that your most serious injury you sustained as a wrestler?
Actually, 2 months before that, I broke a rib due to a Michael Elgin powerbomb in C4 in Ottawa, actually. And so this came right at the tail end of that. So I think the combo of those was I've had a nasty concussion and a litany of other injuries that haven't stopped me, though. All
right, Stevie, you're up.
All right. Well, let's go into Kevin Smith for a little bit because you're named after Brodie and Jason Lee, but other than Mallrats and possibly being acknowledged as your favorite Kevin Smith film, which other ones do you like?
I always put over Chasing Amy. I think it's people sleep on that one, and that's one of his better pieces of work. Definitely different than the rest of them. But I think like the Mallrats and the Clerks line are classic, and it holds up at any time. I mean, you can turn on Clerks and Clerks 2 anytime, and you're good to go.
What do you think of Jason Mewes' character in those movies? The smoking pot, talking shit. What do you think of him?
I think that's a perfect combination. It's a good character, and I think somebody should probably be doing that on the independent circuit right now.
Yeah, he could probably get booked in California.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there that on the independent circuit that smokes pot and talks shit.
That's true. It's a pretty popular thing to do. Now, I want to get your thoughts on Jersey All Pro Wrestling as well, because you spent some time there. So if you could talk about your work in JPW in 2009, that'd be great.
I loved Jersey All Pro Wrestling. It was one of the first promotions in North America to really take care of me and to really give me a chance. And I went in there and did one of my favorite gimmicks of all time, which was the tag with the Necro Butcher and with the Briscoe Brothers, the Hillbilly Wrecking Crew, which kind of started off with a bang by Jay Briscoe yelling, "Fuck Obama." And pretty much it was just a great time there. And I was just going to say that I'm walking into my apartment right now and looking at the Jersey All Pro Heavyweight Championship.
So they've never reclaimed it.
No, I still have it, and I plan on defending it whenever somebody challenges me, because if they don't want to run shows, I'll still defend it.
You know, you should do what CM Punk threatened to do and say, I'm going to defend this in Ring of Honor. I'm going to defend it over in New Japan.
And, I mean, if New Japan wants to book me to defend the Jersey All Pro title, I would love to.
I'm sure they could come up with
I will go anywhere and defend the Jersey All Pro title.
Very cool.
You should take a picture of the belt in your fridge.
I was actually going to put it some other places, but I don't want to offend anybody, so I'll just stop.
Well, you did mention the Briscoe Brothers, and we've talked about whether people are like what they appear to be on TV. So what are those Briscoe Brothers like?
The Briscoe Brothers are great, great men. Jay Briscoe enjoys wood tips and beer, and Mark Briscoe enjoys anything that will put his life in danger.
So basically, they are the country Delaware good old boys that they seem to be.
They are great country good old boys, and again, those are a couple of boys I would love to have on my side in a bar fight.
I don't doubt anybody would. But I want you on my side first, because 6'9", nobody's going to mess with you if they see you coming.
Well, I mean, if there's like, if I just had knee surgery or something and I'm out at a bar drinking Southern Comfort and, somebody wants to try me, it's nice to have a couple guys there.
Yes, indeed. But nobody should be trying you whether you've had knee surgery or not. That's my take on it.
I mean, I agree with you, but, you get late at night after a couple soda pops, and then you kind of want people to try you.
Now, it seems Drake Younger tried to try you, but Drake didn't have much success with that.
Me and Drake beat the shit out of each other, and that was kind of my introduction to the world of, I guess you would call it, strong style, and I enjoyed it.
Brodie, are you a fan of mixed martial arts?
I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts.
Well, in that sense, who's your pick on Saturday, Rashad or Tito?
Oh my God! I really hope Tito Ortiz wins. I was at his last fight, and I was the only person in the room to pick him, and it won me a lot of money. And I believe him. And this time, I have to believe that he's healthy and that he got a good training camp in, and that he didn't take any damage in his last fight. And I think what Rashad's going to do is put him on the wall, fall, and pray, and take a 3-round decision. And I hope Tito knocks him out before that happens.
Now, we've heard stories like Finley and Regal and Haku. If UFC was like it is now back then, they would have gone mixed martial arts instead of wrestling. Would you have taken up MMA instead of wrestling?
That's a good question. It would all depend, I guess, with my situation at the time, money, and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't mind a good fight, so if somebody wanted to pay me to be in a good fight, I guess that could be the start of something.
Oh, wow.
I hear our producer Kevin in the background. What are you barking on about, Kevin?
There's something cool happening on TNA. That can't be it.
I'm sorry,
No.
that was not supposed to bleed through. My mic was supposed to be off. Pardon me.
You're watching TNA, aren't you?
Are you watching TNA, Kev? Be honest.
Of course, because TNA would not give that reaction to anybody.
Yeah,
No,
that is-
not at this time.
That is damn sure. I think the last stat I saw was that it was about a 50-to-1 ratio of people ordering UFC over TNA.
And I would say more 75 to 80 to 1.
Yeah, it could be that high. I even saw one person predict that all the TNA pay-per-views in the year put together wouldn't even equal the buy rate of the lowest UFC.
That's a good stat. I'm sure the boys in the locker room love to hear those.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing if you work for TNA these days. It's like having stock investments. It's going nowhere but down.
With all that said, though, if TNA wants to hire me, I would love to work there.
Oh, okay. who would be your first feud then?
My first feud would, are they booking it or am I booking it?
You're booking it.
If I booked it, it would probably be with somebody like a Bobby Roode or somebody like that, or maybe even like, I would love to work Jeff Jarrett in the program. If they booked it, I would probably be a clown of some sort in some really shitty gimmick and probably job to, I guess, a bit in 3 seconds and probably never be seen again.
So basically you'd be tag teaming with Eric Young.
And which I wouldn't have a problem with because that man entertains the hell out of me.
You know, Eric is a great worker, but the way they use him on television, you'd never know it.
He actually came up here in 2006, and we wrestled in a promotion called AEW Upstate 101, and it was a phenomenal match. And you're right, he comes from the Canadian Ontario circuit that brought a ton of great workers like Tyson Dukes, Cody Deere, Sean Spears, people like that, all came from the same spot, and Eric Young is from that spot as well.
I know Peter loves to hear that, given he's from Ottawa, so he loves hearing about Canadian stars on the rise.
Well, nothing against Ottawa, but I'm talking more of like a Toronto area, like a Maple Leaf area, not a Senators area. So
See, that
we're
you
talking
just hit the
quality,
nail on the
not
head.
crap.
You hit the nail on the head because he might be from Ottawa, but he's actually a Maple Leafs fan.
I mean, there's people coming out of Ottawa. There's Steve Generico from near Ottawa. Smash Brothers, people like that are all coming out of there.
That's true.
Well,
That's
Peter, you're
absolutely
going to have to
true.
answer, where do you loyalty slide? Is it with Ottawa
But
or
they
is
still
it
have
with
the
Toronto?
Ottawa
Because
Senators.
the way you
Screw
rep the Maple Leafs
Senators.
jersey, I would choose Ottawa all the way.
Brodie, are you a big hockey fan?
Oh, I'm a huge hockey fan, but I'm a Toronto Maple Leaf fan.
Math my own heart. I've got 3 or 4 jerseys at home and a bunch of Maple Leaf stuff all over the apartment here.
If one of them is a Doug Gilmore, then we can be friends.
I've got a big, not Doug Gilmore, but I got a big Felix the Cat print in one room and a Daryl Sittler print in another room.
All right, that'll work. I mean, in 1993, when they went to the conference finals against the Kings, I was in heaven and watched every minute of every game, only to be heartbroken due to shitty refereeing.
Yeah, and Wayne Gretzky, Marty McSorley.
Yeah, fuck them.
Now, Brodie,
Well, I'm gonna
since
be
you're a
in
hockey
trouble if I
fan, I might as
say
well ask you this. No, what do you think of Detroit coming into the Eastern Conference after next season?
I knew it was coming.
Has that been officially announced?
Yeah, after next season, they're moving Detroit into the East and they're putting Winnipeg into the West.
What the fuck is the point of that? You gotta be kidding me. we're going to bring the best team in hockey to the Eastern Conference to beat the shit out of Maple Leafs 10 times a year, and we're going to send the worst team in hockey, the Winnipeg Jets, to the Western Conference. I mean, logistically it makes sense, but to me, it's terrible.
They'd be in the same division as the Capitals.
I mean, that's better than being in the same division as the Maple Leafs, but... And to be fair, the Capitals are given that division every year because they have no challenge. So I guess it's all right, but I don't like that at all. God,
I wasn't expecting you to be a hockey fan. This is awesome.
I'm really upset that you told me that.
And Stevie is a diehard Red Wings fan, so we always talk hockey here.
You're a Red Wings fan.
Yeah, I'm a Red Wings fan.
Red Wings fan.
Yeah.
What exactly is the draw of the Red Wings? They're like the Yankees, and to be fair, I'm a Yankees fan, but I don't understand why you could like them.
The way I explain it to people is that I lived in Michigan for 3 years, and every team in Michigan sucked. So the Red Wings were the only good team I could root for.
Fair enough. I like to compare a me versus Kevin Steen match, which has never happened, but in my head, I kind of see it going like a Ty Domi Bob Probert fight.
Just gloves off, it's flying, teeth going everywhere.
But neither of us will be on Coke.
Well, that's true.
And not Coca-Cola.
All right, Peter, I think we're getting to the point where we should probably start to bring it around full circle. So you got closing questions? I'll let you go ahead.
Well, I'm really hoping to see you upcoming in a couple of months here for C4 Wrestling. But Brodie, do you have any advice for some of our listeners who might want to be breaking into the business? Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Basically, go to somebody that's successful. I would suggest the CHIKARA school, I would suggest the ROH school, and ultimately I would suggest OVW and FCW. If you're really serious about this, and it's kind of a regret I have, is that I didn't go to Florida or to Ohio when I was younger. I mean, I learned a different way, and today I tell kids that if you really want this, to go to a school that you trust, go to a school that's somebody successful, and then from there, move to a Ring of Honor or CHIKARA, OVW, or an FPW. And basically, I was told this a long time ago. Tom Pritchard asked me if I like the taste of shit, and I said, well, sir, I don't know. And he said, well, you better get used to it. That's all you're going to taste in this business. So if the prospective student likes the taste of shit and can deal with it for the next 20 years of his life, then become a pro wrestler.
All right, thanks. And before I throw it back to Stevie, do you have a Facebook or a Twitter?
I'm pushing the Twitter, which will be Brodie Lee 93, which is an ode to Doug Gilmore. And Facebook is Brodie Lee as well.
Well, actually, you stole one of my closing questions, so I guess my other question would be, what would you like to say about PWO, why everybody should check it out on Sunday besides your match?
Like I said, it's going to be a lot like a WCW event. The undercard is going to be full of great matches. You got Johnny Gargano, you got Josh Prohibition, you got M-Dog, you got Greg Guerrero, you got a ton of talent. You got Bobby Shields, all kinds of talent on this. The crowd's going to be humongous. It's right in the flats of Cleveland, so I would say just give it a chance. Order it on pay-per-view, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you see. And then when the main event comes, you can see me kick Kevin Nash in the face, which is probably, something to behold.
I think there are a lot of people on the internet who would pay just to see that with or without the rest of the card.
I mean, like I like to say that the first time I look up to Kevin Nash will be in the ring on Sunday because I've never have. So,
all right. Well, the challenge has been issued. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Kevin Nash has to respond now. He's got no other choice but to face you and try to man up.
And like I said, Justin LeBar and Aaron Draven are bringing somebody else to do their battle, and I don't really understand. So I do hope I get my hands on those two as well.
All right, so you've got multiple choices to see this show. There's GoFightLive.tv for iPay-per-view, and I believe tickets are still available at shop.pwowrestling.com.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brodie. We appreciate your time, and we wish you nothing but success on Sunday at the PWO show, and hope to see you on many more shows on the internet and live in the near future.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. And like I said, if anybody wants me to come defend this Jersey All-Pro Heavyweight Championship in their town, give me a shout.
Take it out of the fridge. You'll be getting calls. All right. Thanks again, Brodie.
Thank you.
All right, Kev, let's take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the pay-per-view that nobody's going to buy on Sunday. So stay tuned. You're listening to Thursday Night AMP, and if you're listening, go buy PWO instead of TNA. Why would you buy TNA? We'll be right back.
The O Show and the OShow.com each and every week bring you an absolutely awesome product. But if you don't check it out on the OShow.com, then a site of preference would be right here on AngryMarks.com.
No question. My man Big Daddy Donnie and your bro Danny O are joined by an all-star cast each and every week. Every Thursday is a brand new episode of the O Show, and you can check it out right here on AngryMarks.com.
Are you looking for news on Lindsay Lohan going to jail, Oprah Winfrey's book club, and Britney Spears' latest album to hit the charts? Then take a hike, jabroni! Amped Radio has the latest professional wrestling news, rumors, and the best industry interviews. The Bowling Alley, The Shoot Club, In the Room, and much more. Catch us on the web at www.ampd-radio.com. Internet radio that will blow your freaking mind.
This is Tommaso Ciampa. You're listening to the Angry Marks podcast.
I want to thank Brodie Lee for a great interview. A lot of talk about hockey as well as wrestling, and a lot of fun. Hey, Peter?
You knew I had to bring up hockey, but I had no idea he was a huge Leafs fan. Made a smile on my face.
Yeah, indeed. I was trying to say that you were a bigger Leafs fan than a Senators fan, but I think my phone line was breaking up and that didn't quite come through.
Yeah, he said that. I'm looking at the big print Gerald Sittler. I'm like, son of a bitch. It was a great interview, Steven.
Yes, well. Yeah, Brodie's a lot of fun, and we hope that the PWO show on Sunday is a big hit.
Now, I guess we should talk hardcore justice. I guess we're avoiding it long enough.
Well, I still say more people are going to buy that PWO show than are going to buy TNA.
Absolutely. Let's take a look, and we have to get this, bear through it and just get her done. But before we do, I should mention that C4 Wrestling in Ottawa is hosting a Fighting Back Wrestling with Cancer show Friday, August the 12th. Two huge main events. Kevin Steen and Speedball Mike Bailey will face the Super Smash Brothers in one main event. And the other main event is going to be MVP Michael Von Payton against former ECW, WWE, and TNA wrestler Tommy Dreamer.
Wow.
So that's this next Friday here in Ottawa.
That should be pretty awesome.
And all the proceeds go to the Canadian Cancer Society.
Well, hey, as long as we're plugging cards and plugging things we're more interested in than TNA, let me just run down the PWO card really quick since we didn't do that while Brodie Lee was on the air. He mentioned a few of the matches. I'll mention all of them. They're having a special women's attraction, Portia Perez versus Veda Scott. They're doing Cursed versus Corey Winters, a WrestleRama trophy match between Bobby the Body Shields and Ben Fruth. Then they have a PWO Tag Team 4-way match with the Sons of Michigan versus the Homeless Handicap Connection, which is the aforementioned Gregory Iron and his partner Hobo Joe, versus Aeroform, which I think a lot of people know from watching the Indies. That's Lewis Linden and Flip Kendrick versus Brian Bender and Brian Castle. So already an epic 4-way, and I'm not even through the whole card yet because we got another 4-way. The TV title match of Bobby Beverly versus Jason Gorey versus Shima Zion versus Michael Tassad. An old school challenge match of Tito Santana versus Nikki Valentino, a full circle 3-way with Josh Prohibition, M-Dog 20, Matt Cross, and the whole shebang Johnny Gargano The PWO title match is no disqualification as Jason Bane defends against the embodiment of evil, Crimson, and of course the main event, which we're all looking forward to, Kevin Nash and Aaron Draven with Justin LeBar take on megastar Marion Fontaine and Big Rig Brodie Lee. So PWOWrestling.com to get all the information on that card.
And of course, GoFightLive.tv is the way to see it if you're not in the area.
Absolutely. Kev, you better get a banner up for that show sometime during the next day or two because we want everybody to go and check that out.
Well, speaking of cards, let's briefly touch on Hardcore Justice since it is this Sunday. And there are 7 matches on the card right now, and there's an 8th match which will be announced tonight on Impact. And let's start at the bottom of the card with Pope D'Angelo De Niro against Devon.
All right. Well, this is the feud that really makes no sense because the Pope's trained to be Devon's friend on TV and in matches and helping him get wins and score points in Bound for Glory, yet for some reason, they're still fighting.
Yeah, this one is, I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of this match, to be honest. Well, I'll say the Pope wins.
On personal favorite alone, I would say the Pope, but honestly, I just want Devon and Bubba. I want them to get back together. God damn it, this match has pissed me off so much, I'm coughing up a lung here. What the hell? Okay, Devon and Bubba Ray back together, Pope D'Angelo doing something better.
Now that match will be a singles match in the Bound for Glory series. Might as well bring up the other Bound for Glory series matchup as Crimson faces RVD.
Well, I hate to say it, but this one's predictable. Crimson wins.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
I mean, they didn't give him this winning streak for nothing.
In a 6-man tag, it's going to be Fortune members AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian against the Immortal members Abyss, Gunner, and Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
Again, if we're playing favorites of who I would actually care more for, I would pick Fortune, but I have a feeling it's going to be Immortal.
I'm going to say Immortal just because Abyss is on the poster, and when it comes to TNA, picking the winners is flipping a coin.
Or just take the poster off the wall and that's who wins.
True. The one match that will be announced tonight will be Mr. Kennedy versus Bubba Ray.
Can I just not pick? Do I have to pick a winner?
Yeah, pick a winner, Stevie.
Fine, Kennedy.
Alright. This match should be the match of the night. Austin Aries versus Alex Shelley versus Brian Kendrick for the X Division title.
Yeah, and this match is more important to me than anything else on this card. In fact, I dare say it's probably more important than the rest of the card put together. And I kind of hope Aries goes over here and wins the X Division title.
Alright, I'm going to go with Kendrick retaining in this one. I don't know why, just, champion retains.
Nikolai is saying Aries for champ in our chat room, so a man with good taste, that one Nick Augustin.
Yeah, but he's a Bruins fan. What does he know?
Hey, you always nug it for being a Bruins fan, but he has a good taste to pick Austin Aries.
I'm going to get flack for that one.
Yes,
all right,
you are.
Our next one is Mickie James versus Winter for the women's knockout title.
Yeah.
Pick one, Stevie.
Oh, fine. Mickie James, because Blade Braxton loves her.
Now, was there any Mickie James news today I saw on your Facebook?
Yeah, actually, she is doing a Kickstarter campaign to raise money for her next album. And if you donate enough money to the proceeds of producing her album, then she will come to your house and personally put on a concert for you for 30 minutes.
How much does that cost?
I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I'm sure that Blade Braxton is already taking donations for it as we speak.
Oh, probably. All right, well...
wait. You didn't give your pick. Mickie James or Winter? I know. You made me pick. You got to pick too.
Winter in an upset.
All right, that's fine. Let's move on then to Beer Money versus Mexican America. Who do you got in that?
This feud I just can't get behind for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's Beer Money's like quasi-racist promos against Mexican America, cutting the lawn and green card up an ass and all this garbage. I'm like, I really don't give a damn. Mexican America wins.
You know, the one thing that really doesn't make sense about this feud, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to point this out, but they're making fun of Mexican America for being immigrants, and both of those guys are American.
And one of the divas in Mexican America is Canadian.
So what exactly is their point when they're talking about green cards? What the fuck?
Well, wasn't LAX about Mexican wrestlers, and I think Homicide was from Puerto Rico, I believe?
Well, that was more like Latin pride, so I could actually kind of buy that one.
That I can see.
It was about Latinos representing for themselves and not taking shit from any gringos.
Yeah. But let's go with the main event. Actually, no, you gotta pick Beer Money or Mexican America.
Knowing TNA, they would probably put it on Mexican America. But again, because I'm not going to order this pay-per-view anyway, and it doesn't matter to me, I'm going to go with the team that I actually like and say Beer Money retains. Beer Money!
All right, time for the main event in a match we've probably seen time and time again in the past few years of TNA. Sting defends the world title against Kurt Angle.
Okay, there are chances this match could be good, and that I would attribute mostly to Kurt Angle being a phenomenal wrestler. Sting, he was at one time really good. He can still be good as he once was for one time, or whatever that saying is that Kev knows because he's from Kentucky, but I don't have high hopes, and again, I'm not ordering it, so it won't matter if it sucks, but I wouldn't mind if Kurt Angle beat Sting, but I feel like they have ideas for this Joker, as stupid as it is, character, so Sting probably finds a way to retain by screwjob.
Oh, man. Well, see, Kurt Angle was like one of the clowns that, helped him get the title, so I think the Angle will be dead after Sunday. I'm going to say Kurt Angle once again is your TNA champion.
You didn't say Kurt Angle will be dead after Sunday, I hope.
No, I did not.
Just making sure.
Now, we should touch on the TNA news from today as a TNA wrestler gave his papers. And Stevie, do you have any more news in that regard?
Well, the wrestler you're referring to is Jonathan Amazing Red Figueroa, and we still don't know what exactly the reason was that he gave his notice, but I can imagine it's probably that they didn't use him enough, and he was tired of the shitty pay and wanted to try his luck on the independents, so can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, there's no details as of now, but I'm sure we'll get some details on our next Angry Marks podcast. Probably Ring the Bell. We'll have an interesting, they'll talk about it, and if I know Ring the Bell, Sierra will probably bury Zack Ryder once again.
We just need to make that a topic, persona non-topic. Just not even discuss it anymore because it's one of those agree to disagree kind of things. Nobody's going to convince her, and we're not going to convince her, and she's not going to convince anybody else. It's just Zack Ryder just needs to be a moot point, and everybody should move on.
That's true. That's definitely true. All
and
right.
Well, respect to Sierra too. Let's just make that absolutely clear. Sierra is awesome.
And if you haven't caught it, I think it was not this past week, but the week before. There's a really great Ring the Bell with not Nikolai. It was Kev and Mike Poulin and Sierra and Melissa and Seth Draken. It was an amazing show, and I heard it yesterday on my iPod, and it was 5 effing stars.
Yeah, Mike Poulin's really been on fire of late. He's the first couple of editions of Ring the Bell, he was a little bit timid and he couldn't be heard very well, and we had to keep screaming at him in the chat room to yell into his phone. But now that he's on Skype and he's getting into the groove of doing the show on a regular basis, he's really come into his own. It's like seeing an indie wrestler who was kind of green and work a few matches and start to get a little confidence, and suddenly you think this kid's got potential.
Absolutely. And Don't forget, next week on AMP, we'll be reviewing WWE SummerSlam from Los Angeles, California at the Staples Center. I hear there's a certain basketball team or two basketball teams that play there as well, but we won't go there.
Yeah. I think you said review. I think you mean preview.
Preview. Sorry, it's late.
It's even later on the East Coast where actually Mike Pullen's at an IWE event right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told me this afternoon he got a ride to the IWE fan festival or fan event or whatever it's called. So he's going to be there, probably kicking back with a few beers and enjoying a good IWE card. So we're going to get a slightly delayed TNA Impact Wrestling report from him and probably an IWE report to go along with it.
Now, at SummerSlam, just to go back on it real quick, CeeLo Green will perform the official theme song, Bright Lights, Bigger City. And after the break, we're going to have another interview here on AMP. And Stevie, why don't you preview who we got coming up after the break?
Yeah, we'll be talking to hip-hop producer Religion, who is a big pro wrestling fan and wanted to speak to us on the show and talk about hip-hop and what he likes in the squared circle. So we're looking forward to that conversation. It should be a lot of fun. And I understand he went to the same high school you did.
Yeah, I looked that up. I think the link you sent me, I was like, huh, that's random. Okay. But he's probably different years, and I probably don't know who he, we'll find out after the break.
Yep, we will. And before we take that break, I just want to, on a somber note, we'll get this out of the way right now. I want to say rest in peace to JT Lightning. He was a fixture on the independent scene. He ran his own promotion out of Cleveland, and he passed away from cancer today after suffering for the last couple of years. He was in hospice care, and it was looking kind of downhill, and he didn't make it today. So our thoughts and prayers are with all of his friends and family. Rest in peace, JT.